One of the games I always wanted to play from the PlayStation 3 and 360 era was Sonic Generations. The 20th anniversary of the Blue Burr always looked incredible, and unfortunately, it didn't come to Nintendo consoles. We did have a unique 3DS game that was pretty good, but it was its own thing entirely. Thankfully, last year we got the brilliant remaster of Sonic Generations with the added side order of Shadow Generations to make Sonic X Shadow Generations that came out on Switch 1 as well as other consoles. It was a glorious and one of the best games of last year. As it's a new console launch, it'd be rude not to have a Sonic game during the party, so we have a Switch 2 version of the game. So let's see how they did, shall we? First up, I'll give you a quick recap on the game and then talk about the Switch 2 version itself. Sonic X Shadow Generations is brilliant, easily one of the best Sonic games in years. It remasters Sonic Generation and adds a cool new story mode with Shadow Generations. That's just as long as the base game, and arguably Shadow's game is even better than Sonic's. The whole package is just a delight, so much content, and easily, as I said, the best Sonic game in years. So, Sonic X Shadow Generations for the Switch 2 is unfortunately a rather bare bones release with very few new additions. The Switch 1 release was capped at 30 FPS at 720p for handheld and 1080p docked. And honestly, I thought the port was pretty good. It looked crisp in Sonic Generations and stuck to the 30 FPS for most of the time. For the shadow part, the texture did suffer and the frame rate wasn't perfect, but honestly, I had a great time with it and it didn't really hamper my enjoyment, unlike Sonic Forces or Frontiers, which did suffer a lot on the Switch. Actually, I think this is the best 3D Sonic port we've had on Switch. I know it isn't saying much, but it is really serviceable, especially during the Switch twilight years. As for the Switch 2 performance, it's now a rock solid 60 FPS in both docked and portable play, and it's lovely and buttery smooth. Definitely 60 FPS is the way to go. The game runs at 1080p in handheld and what looks to be 1440p in docked, and the visuals certainly have a nice pop to them, definitely in line with the PS5 version, which is very surprising. Sonic Generations performance is pretty flawless, 60 FPS and clear picture quality on both docked and handheld play. Very impressive stuff. On the shadow part of the things, it does get a little bit murky. The game is more technically impressive, and it was always interested to see how this one went. And actually, it's quite cool. It's got two modes, a 30 FPS mode with more detail and high resolution, or 60 FPS with slightly less detail and less resolution. It is pretty impressive to have the option, as PS4 Pro is actually stuck at 30. Obviously, 60 FPS is the way to go, and honestly, the visuals aren't that much difference between the modes, so definitely stick to that 60 FPS cap. As for other new additions, well, there isn't any. Load times are faster, and that's about it. No new modes or levels. Heck, the DLC for the Sonic movie isn't included. You have to buy that, which is a bit of a cheek, I think. Also, a bit of a cheek is the handful of glitches I've seen. They're only silly little stuff but annoying, and these didn't actually exist in the Switch 1 or the PS5 version, so it's pretty disappointing to see that here. So, what about an upgrade path, I hear you cry? Zelda got one, Civilization got one, Hogwarts got one. You'd think Sonic would, wouldn't you? As it's a pretty basic port. Nope, nothing. You have to buy the game again. Yes, £45 for 60 FPS mode and some nicer visuals. What a joke. I know I've been critical of Nintendo with their greed this gen, but damn, Sega's said hold my beer on this situation. If you've already got the game on Switch 1, keep that. Don't entertain Sega with this rubbish. It should have been a £10 upgrade and that would have been fine. But to buy the game again, no way. Obviously, if you haven't played the game, by all means, get it, as it's the best place to play on a Nintendo system and also on handheld. Also, the physical edition is that good old keycard rubbish too. Conclusion time now, and Sonic X Shadow Generation is the best Sonic game in a very long while. It's pure speed with great level design and a fantastic new inclusion of the Shadow Generation portion. And the Switch is the best way to play for both handheld and Nintendo consoles. Unfortunately, the upgrade is rather limited with nothing really new here and no upgrade path for Switch 1 owners. The game itself, if you've never played it before, is a 9 out of 10 any day of the week. But for this Switch 2 version, based on its new additions, it's unfortunately a 6 out of 10 with the title of OK. Thank you ever so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be totally awesome. And as always, till next time, bye.